I hope you're doing well today. I hope you have nothing but good health, prosperity, a strong mindset, and a healthy vision for the future. I think it's funny how money can be Bro, what? I think it's interesting how money can either be the root cause of your problems or the solution to all of your problems. But today, we're going to talk about credit cards. If you're someone who is typically not capable of paying back or staying on top of your expenses every month or paying off a credit card every month, then this video is not for you. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor, but don't go into debt trying to follow my advice. I'm a firm believer that every dollar that you have needs a job. When you spend on your debit card, there's no actual practical return on that expense, right? You spend the money and the money's gone. That's it. You don't see it or hear from it ever again. Even in terms of the security aspect, when you spend solely on your debit cards, you may not increase how much you owe back in credit card debt, which is a good advantage if you feel like managing a credit card is overwhelming or you just have negative spending habits, right? And I'm not saying that to judge you, but some of you are terrible with your money, and that's just a fact. If someone steals your card, whatever balance is on that card is gone forever, right? People will tap, and your bank account will be drained. And if you don't have overdraft protection or you have fees that come with overdraft protection, you will pay a lot more in fees from that kind of thing happening to you. The banks don't like losing their money. They don't care about your money. Your money is fine. They'll lose it in an instant, right? And then you got to go through a whole process. This and that, the third. But when it comes down to their money, oh no, they're on top of it. You spend on your credit card. If you make a claim of a false charge, they'll investigate it, right? If you need to lock your card, it's locked up instantly, right? There's more protection against credit cards. This is where we're going to talk about rewards points. Okay, I'll say rewards points. I'll switch it over. So basically, you can either get a card that's focused more on rewards, right? Basically, you'll gain points over time for your expenses, or cashback, where you'll gain money back for the expenses that you have based on a certain percentage amount of what you've spent. So let's say you're spending $200 on gas in a month. You normally spend that, right? And then let's say $400 on food. Let's say some subscriptions and stuff like that, like everyday purchases. So what are we at? Like 700. We'll round it up to 300 and just keep it at 1,000 for basic math, right? So we have these three categories that we just covered. Certain cards will give you a multiplier of points per dollar you spend on that thing. So let's say you have a card that gives you 3 points per dollar spent on gas. Now remember, we said that you're spending $200 on gas, right, per month. You normally spend that. So if you get 3 points for the $200, you're walking away with 600 points, right? And then the other example was 500 for food, or 3 or 500 or whatever I just said for food, right? Let's say you're getting 2 points on that. So you're getting 1,000 points. So let's say it's 500, you're getting 1,000 points for that. And then the last example of everyday expenses, 300 points. $300 is 1 point per dollar for everyday purchases or whatever, right? You made 600 points, right, for the gas. You have 1,000 points for your food, right? And now you have, what did I say? And then you have 300 points for everyday expenses, right? So when we add that up, you have 1,900 points for that month. The cost of living in your life situation is going to be a lot different, but on average, you can see people more than likely spending between like $2,000 to $4,000 to maybe even $6,000 a month, right? Depending on the kind of person you are, how much you make and things like that. But as a whole, you're going to get a lot more points back based on your spending. Now, here's the kicker, right? Or even with cashback, you'll get like some cards are 2%, some cards are 1%. Some promotions run for higher percentages for a certain period of time. That's just getting into the specific of things, but technically it's money you've already spent. So like blah, 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 blah. That's the boring stuff, okay? We don't care about the boring stuff. So you have those 1,900 points. Let's round it up to 2,000 for the sake of math, right? At the end of the year, those 2,000 points will be 24,000 points. Some cards will offer actual sign-on bonuses where you'll get a sum of points when you sign up for the card, right? So let's say you get an extra 20,000 on top of the 24,000 you already have. Now you have 44,000 points. Some cards will give you rewards where you basically get the flight, or you'll get the accommodation covered through your points, right? So you basically back-loaded your expenses. Other cards will give you some kind of reward in other ways, where you can claim it on prescriptions, or you can claim it on groceries, or you can claim it on certain items, or even like computers or software, electronics, you know what I mean? The money that you spent is essentially paying you back in some other form, right? The key here is to make sure that when you are spending on your credit, one, you don't get hungry and overspend an amount that you can't pay back at the end of the month. Two, you don't rack up a lot of debt. That's because the thing is, that's what the banks want. The banks will give you all these perks and dangle that carrot in your face in hopes that you get too hungry and you start overspending. So the goal here is to really wrangle that in and make sure that when you decide that you want to make that expense, it's based on your own choice. You know what I'm saying? And it fits within your budget. Check your credit card, right? See what kind of rewards you get from your credit cards. See if you get any perks at all, right? A lot of people have the same credit card they first got when they first got a credit card in their whole life. I was like that. And I was looking at my rewards and I'm like, yo, I'm not getting anything out of it. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own research. But once you have a better idea of how to make your money work for you in every way, whether it's saving or spending, you're going to just multiply the advantages that you have in your financial world or experiences. So watch this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.